everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about some important events that happened during my birth month and year, which was April of 1998. Um, After everything that I've looked up, I can see that nothing really crazy has happened, nothing much has changed, but it was still very interesting to learn about things that were going on around the time when I was born. Some of the things that I will be going over include things like music, movies, big news stories, so like national news or news events, natural disasters, things like that. So, as far as music goes, I'm sure we all know the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Dave Navarro was actually fired by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Um, I only found that to be sort of relevant because the Red Hot Chili Peppers are still a pretty big group today. Um, Also, a Lollapalooza event was canceled because they couldn't find a headliner, and I thought that was just super interesting considering how popular Lollapalooza has come to be and how big it is today. Um, Something that I thought was really cool was that on April 29th, which is actually the actual day of my birthday, Steven Tyler broke his knee during a concert while he was performing, and because he broke his knee, they had to change all the camera angles and everything like that for the music video for his hit song Don't Wanna Miss a Thing. So I thought that was super cool to read about because I never would have known that if I didn't read about it, and that's a pretty big song, so it was a pretty big deal. As far as hit songs, there wasn't anything too crazy except for My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, so that's still a very popular song, so that was a big thing when it came out. For movies, I couldn't really find much. Nothing really struck me, especially considering they're super old to me. I don't really know much about old movies. I found that My Giant, starring Billy Crystal, that came out in April 1998, and that's kind of a classic. And also Tarzan and The Lost City. So Tarzan is a classic as well. There's a lot of renditions of it, but that was kind of a big deal when Tarzan came out. So, as far as big stories and historical events, I found a lot of things that were more international, and then I also found a lot of things that were more focused on just the United States. So, as far as international things go, I read about the Good Friday Belfast agreements, which happened during April 1998, and this was when the British government and the Irish government signed off, and it was actually known as the Good Friday Agreement because it happened on Good Friday. And what it was basically determining how Northern Ireland would be governed. So that's a pretty big deal. It didn't directly relate to the U.S., but it was a big deal for the people who lived there at the time. Also, there was an earthquake in Slovenia, which was a 5.6 on the Richter scale. So once again, it didn't directly affect the United States, but there were pretty devastating things going on around the world during that time. On a more United States related scale, Animal Kingdom was opened up to the public on April 22nd, which I thought was super cool to read about. I love Disney World and I love Animal Kingdom. So seeing that Animal Kingdom opened up in the month and year that I was born was super cool to me because I've been thinking that it's been around forever. So now I see that it's really not that old as I thought it was. There was an F3 tornado in Nashville, and this was the first big tornado to hit a major city in 11 years. So that was actually a really big deal. And there was an epidemic of tornadoes right around that time that all took place in Nashville, and it became known as the Nashville Tornado Outbreak of 1998. So that was a pretty big deal as well. I looked up what celebrities were born during this time, but really there were no big celebrities born. It was only 20 years ago, so most of them were just like young people that we don't really pay much attention to, like on Disney Channel and stuff like that. On a lighter note, there was an April Fool's joke on April 1st, 1998, where Burger King announced in USA Today that they were creating a left-handed Whopper and that they would be rotating all their condiments 180 degrees and to make it easier for left-handed people to eat there. and people actually fell for it in spite of the fact that a burger is the shape of a circle. So I thought that that was pretty funny. That's really all I could find, nothing too interesting, but I was fascinated with some of the things that I found, and I hope that you were too from listening to the speech, so thank you.